David Ben Miller. He's also the author of the book Turbulence. David, it's good to have you on. You're the former CEO of a major airline. How long do you think these cancellations can last?
Well, good morning and thank you, Seema. As I mentioned in an earlier segment with Brian earlier before Thanksgiving, that we're going to see this happen through the holidays for sure. And that was before this aggressive COVID situation happened with Omicron. And that's going to go through the first quarter. I think, if I may interject, I'll throw a couple of numbers really quickly. December 5th, there was 149 cancellations. On the 26th, there were 1,627. And right now, there's probably about 8,000 flights flying around the U.S. as we speak. I think the problem is as follows. Number one, obviously, the aggressiveness of the new variant. Number two, the fact that everybody's getting tested. So what happened before? Not as many people getting tested. Once you get tested, it sort of creates a domino effect within the industry. And remember, these folks all work together. It's kind of like an NFL team. They're all in the same place a lot. The pilots have to be in the right place at the right time. That's hard. There's different equipment types, the testing impact. The reserves are probably depleted. Most of the major carriers have reserves sitting at the airport to cover for somebody that calls in sick. The problem is the reserves are probably also calling in sick. And then you got the connection hub problems. And I don't, just from one guy forecasting the future, I think what JetBlue did and what the airlines have to do, as hard as it is to get ahead of it, face the reality, because, you know, all of a sudden you're canceling. The average performance is 99%, just to give you a number.
It's really interesting to hear you.
It's 94% right now.
It's really interesting, David, to hear you dissect this problem, because there are different reasonings that have come to the forefront as to why this is happening right now. You have holiday travel, the staffing issues, plus testing, that also being a big issue for travel in general. A lot of us who are planning to go outside the U.S., getting that PCR test in time to make that flight, because you need it 24 hours in advance. Whole different story. What happens to prices, David? Is this going to impact or discourage Americans from traveling? And if so, how much do you expect prices to come down from here?
Let me make one comment. I'm in Spain. I came here yesterday from Dublin. I had to fill out all kinds of forms, went through 2 lines, and if you didn't have the 2 vaccines, you weren't getting into Spain. And the flight was half full, although it was on time. With reference to your other observation, it's the future is going to be tough for the next 3 months. And what was your other question?
Prices. You know, for those of us who are booking travel, do you expect better deals in the coming future?
Well, everybody comes back to pricing, right? Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely. I mean, pricing is a mechanism to stimulate traffic, right? I mean, that's supply and demand. Demand's high, prices are higher. Demand's low, prices are lower. I mean, it's economics 101. But what you also want to do, and it's done by city pair, is very selective. It's not just across-the-board stuff. And you have a couple of new competitors floating around out there now in the United States that are going to be aggressive on pricing. So the answer is yes, there will be pricing incentives. Yes, the first quarter is slow. I mean, depending. There's certain regions of the country where the first quarter is strong because of the weather. But for the most part, it's a slow quarter.
Okay.
So you will see better pricing. I would be very astute if I were someone surfing the web about what that means. And the other problem, if I would quickly interject, is because of all this mess, people are, on the one hand, afraid to fly because the rules are going to change.
Right.
I mean, let's face it. The rules have changed so many times, it's like a Ouija board. So how do you convince people to go ahead and travel? The most important ingredient, which the airlines do, is to say, okay, guys, you booked this. I'm not going to penalize you. You canceled, the money's in the bank. That's smart, and I'm sure they're all going to do that.